Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and on this episode we're walking in Memphis. The topic of this Walking in Memphis, CWA Wrestling from July 5th, 1981. Now a couple things before we start. I do grade everything here on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is the worst, 5 is the best. Everything for Walking in Memphis is segment to segment, so basically commercial break to commercial break. And if you're wanting to check out the video I reviewed for this, it'll be down here in the description. Pause this, go check that out, come back, or check it out after if you don't care about spoilers. With that all being said, let's jump right into this. We start off with local promos, first with the Dream Machine and Bill Dundee, and then followed up by Dutch Mantell. I thought this was pretty awesome. I've run into where these get cut out a lot on these old videos. People deleted them from their videotape or removed them to keep room to record more of the show, I guess. This felt like a more complete show. They kept the commercials in it and everything. I thought these were awesome promos. Kind of neat seeing that pocket in time where the wrestling business was predicated on bringing them into the local matches and having them see these matches in your specific town and there'd be promos for your specific town. Kind of awesome. That leads us right into a match with Wayne Ferris versus Dutch Mantell. If you're not familiar with the name Wayne Ferris, this is the gentleman that would go on to become the Honky Tonk Man. And he's drastically different here. He has a bleach blonde hair, kind of more of a superstar Billy Graham type gimmick than he would have later. Obviously, he's not playing the Elvis impersonator here. This was a really fun match. I mean, Dutch Mantell's one of my favorite wrestlers in Memphis. Wayne Ferris, criminally underrated either way as him or Honky. This goes to a time limit. They end up with a time limit draw. Afterwards, Jimmy Hart comes in with a weapon, a stick, and he starts attacking Dutch Mantell, which brings out Roy Rogers for the save. And yes, here we are again. Memphis has another wrestler that's borrowed, at least their name from pop culture, seeing a guy named Roy Rogers. Overall, I thought that was all pretty good. I'm giving that a 4. After commercial, we come back with a promo from Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart, and he's talking about how he won the Southern Heavyweight Championship from Jerry the King Lawler. Really cool promo. Jimmy Hart doesn't get the respect he deserves. If you go back to this, a lot of people only seen his WWF and WCW run. They never really seen his run where he was probably one of the best managers in wrestling, and you could argue he was rated up there with Bobby the Brain Heenan as number 1 and number 2. A lot could be said from the fact that Jim Cornette patterned a lot of his career after Jimmy Hart in Memphis. That's just how good he was. From that, we go into a video promo from Jerry the King Lawler talking about the same thing. This is great. Lawler, when he sits down and is serious and just has the monotone voice, you could tell his disappointment, you could tell his anger. He's one of the great orators of all time in wrestling. This was a fantastic segment. I'm giving this a 5. That's followed up with a video of Steve Keirn versus Chick Donovan. Chick Donovan's one of those guys that's kind of forgotten with time. He's a wrestler that I really didn't know till much later was a little bit better than what I thought, because I only seen him really at the tail end of his career when he was more used as an enhancement talent. When you go back and watch it, he's actually pretty good. He's pretty good on the mic. He's really good in the ring. This was a good video. Keirn picks up the win here. That leads us right into a segment with Chick Donovan out for an interview with Lance Russell. He talks about being disappointed, how he thinks he should maybe hang it up, how he doesn't have it anymore, which brings out Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart in this segment shows just how excellent he is. He takes a guy that was down on his luck, he preys on his insecurities, talks him into coming with him, becoming part of the First Family, and joining up with Jimmy Hart. This was perfect. This is what a heel manager should be doing. They should be manipulating a face that's looking to make a turn, or a wrestler that's down on their luck to help with their cause. By the end of the video, by the end of the promo, they're singing We Are Family together, fitting because he's part of the First Family now. For all that, I'm giving that segment a 4. Going from that, we go into a match with the Nightmares, going up against the aforementioned Roy Rogers and Steve Keirn. This is a pretty fun match. The only detractor I will say from this, and it may be jarring because of where we are in wrestling now, is at the end of the match, it's a disqualification where Keirn brings Jimmy Hart into the ring getting Rogers and Kern disqualified, where nowadays we're conditioned that that's nothing. You can beat up the manager anywhere at any time. So it's a little bit, maybe it's using 2023 eyes to watch a 1981 video that was a little bit jarring. The Nightmares do pick up the win by that disqualification here. For that, I'm giving this match a 3. I did enjoy it. I just felt like it was a little bit of a letdown of a finish. Going from that, we go into our main event of the show. Chick Donovan going up against superstar Bill Dundee. I wanted to like this match more than I did. I like Bill Dundee. I like his work. I think he's a fantastic wrestler. This match, though, it didn't feel like a Memphis match. It didn't feel like a CWA match. It felt like a WWF match. And what I mean by that is, when I go back and I review these things, WWF of the time, the early 80s, mid 80s, even the late 70s, the work doesn't hold up. It's boring. And it's not because they wrestle slower or there's quote-unquote rest holds or a suplex is a finisher. It's not that. It's because they're not actually telling the same kind of story. Because when you go back and you watch CWA, for example, Jim Crockett, World Class Championship Wrestling, Mid-South, Florida, a lot of the territories hold up a lot better. Now, are they doing crazy 450s and Hunan Karanas? No. They're doing a lot of the same moves, but the ring psychology is better. And that's always been the difference between, at least at that time frame, WWE and the other companies. WWE was more about sizzle than it was the steak, where other companies, it was about the steak, not worrying about the sizzle. Another reason why you'll see something like Memphis Wrestling, they don't have ring skirts, where WWE put the name of the show on the ring skirt. Again, it's all about different perception. This was a good match, not a bad match by any stretch. Dundee does pick up the win. I'm giving it a 3. Now, going from that, we go into our final segment, a promo segment with Kevin Sullivan, the Nightmares, and Wayne Ferris. This was really good because we get to see Kevin Sullivan just before he becomes the quote-unquote satanic character. Wayne Ferris earlier in his career, like I said earlier, before he became the Honky Tonk Man. Both doing an excellent promo here. This is a fantastic way to end the show. I'm giving this a 4. Overall, I thought this was a highly enjoyable show. I enjoyed seeing all the wrestlers on here, guys like Chick Donovan that I honestly haven't thought about in decades. Seeing your luminaries like Dutch Mantell, Jimmy Hart, Bill Dundee, the Nightmares, Steve Kern even. Seeing them all on here was great to watch as well. Overall, I'm going to give this show a 4. I thought it was highly enjoyable. With all that being said, let's smash that like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't, and if you made it all the way to the end, let's throw a Wayne Ferris up there in the comments or a Honky Tonk Man. Either way, for what a great character and what a great wrestler that's kind of underrated and kind of not thought of as being one of the greats of all time. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and we've been Walking in Memphis.